Due to numerous requests and recommendations by friends and subscribers, I decided to check out Beck. I didn't think that I would get into this much because I don't really care about the production of music, but I actually enjoyed it. But Beck isn't just about making music, it's also a slice of life with elements of romance, but this may not be for everyone because the pacing is a bit slow. Beck follows Koyuki, who is a stereotypical anime Japanese teenager who has nothing going for him in his life until he meets Ryusuke, whose passion for music and skills with the guitar inspire him to get into music and to begin playing the guitar. Ryusuke is just written to be the all-around tough guy and the cool kid of the series. His goal is to form the ultimate band, and he eventually forms Beck and becomes its lead guitarist. Ryusuke is actually the catalyst for everything that happens to Koyuki because after they become friends, Koyuki's life begins to change because he meets Ryusuke's younger sister, Maho. He makes both enemies and friends at school, and he also begins extracurricular activities such as joining the music club and also beginning a swimming class. So because of these events, we witness a pretty slow progression of Koyuki. It's slow, but it feels like you're actually watching someone's real life. The situations Koyuki faces in the first half of the series, both positive and negative, I feel are very typical for average teenage life, and I feel that a lot of people can relate with the story in one way or another. Plus, you see Koyuki working his fingers to the bone to become a good guitar player. And then there's the romantic aspect of the series, which is based around hormonal teenagers who aren't in control of their emotions and don't understand the emotions of others, which leads for a bit of realistic drama. Beck also features some other awesome characters. I could see a lot of people liking Koyuki for his progression and his spirit, and I could see a lot of people liking Ryusuke for just being who he is. But my favorite characters of the show, aside from Koyuki, are Shiba and the swimming instructor. Shiba is just an awesome guy. He's pretty funny and kind of goofy, but he always stands up for his friends. He's actually the lead vocalist for Beck, and his style is a mix between punk and rap, and it kind of reminds me of Rage Against the Machine. And then there's the swimming instructor who through time becomes Koyuki's mentor. He's actually a bit of a creepy character because there was one time in the show, I'm not going to say who they were, but there was a 14-year-old couple naked in the pool together. They had snuck into school at night, and he walks up and gets in the pool with them knowing that they're there and decides to swim around, and he's kind of an old guy. That's pretty creepy, I would have to say. What I like about Beck is the slow-paced progression of Koyuki, but because of this, a lot of the other characters just feel like an afterthought. You're briefly told about Shiba's past, and you see just a little bit of Ryusuke's past, but it's not really enough to satisfy anyone who enjoys any of the other characters aside from Koyuki. Moving on from the characters, the second half of the series is based mostly on music and their band, but I'll get into the actual music at the end of this video because it's kind of complicated. Not to spoil the experience for anyone, but I feel that the second half of this series was very rushed and the plot was advanced with unrealistic coincidences. Also in the second half of the series, we're introduced to a bit of the darker underworld of the music industry, which wasn't bad, but I feel it was a bit unnecessary, especially when you could have had honest plot advancement and also character development instead. With the ending of this series, I was actually a bit disappointed. I wanted to see more, but it did end in a heartwarming way. Needless to say, Beck is meant to be enjoyed as a journey, not just as an end experience, but it doesn't have to end here. You can actually read the manga, which I hear is a lot better. As for the presentation here, the art style is just average. It's nothing special, but it does everything that it needs to do. Now on to the biggest issue, which is the audio. This is a series which is based mostly around music, so voice acting is actually a very important part. I have to say that the songs sung both in English and in Japanese were both beautiful, and I have to commend the voice actors for doing such a great job in both acting and singing. When I first heard that Greg Ayres would be Koyuki's voice actor and that he would be singing, I cringed, but after hearing him sing, he actually did a great job. While the music was handled great in both languages, the voice acting itself was flawed. In most series, you can choose sub or dub and one will be better or both will be good, but with Beck, both are flawed. In Beck, there are a few characters that are bilingual, and they will actually change from speaking English to Japanese at many different occasions because some of them were actually raised in the United States, but their Japanese voice actors speak English horribly, and it's actually painful to listen to. I really wish that they would have gotten some better Japanese voice actors for these characters because some of these characters' English is their primary language, so you really shouldn't have to listen to them speak such painful English. But if you watch Beck with English dub, I feel that all of the characters were cast with great voice actors, but what you lose out on is accuracy because there were a few copyright issues. A few of the band names had to be changed, and also Ryusuke's guitar name had to be changed. Originally, it was called Lucille, but in the English dub, it's called Prudence. Even the name of the series itself had to be changed. From in Japan, it's called Beck, to in the United States, it's called Beck Mongolian Chop Squad, which sounds kind of random, but it's actually explained within the series because it's a part of the series. Now, as I was discussing this with friends and reading a bit about this online, I did hear that an entire song was changed in the English version of this, but I didn't really notice that because I watched half of this in dub, the first half in dub, because that was the part with most of the character progression. That was the biggest slice of life part, but the second half I watched that in sub to get the true experience. I tried to go back and watch a few of the episodes in dub to catch that part, but I kind of missed out on it. Aside from the few inaccuracies in the dub, I feel that the biggest problem is with the context because you don't know when someone is speaking English or Japanese, and this is a problem because Koyuki doesn't understand English, so when people speak English to him, he won't understand that, but it's just left out of context in the dub. So unfortunately, both the sub and the dub are both flawed, and you're stuck with that unless you want to read the manga, but then you don't hear any of the great music. But if you want more of Beck, the manga is finished with 34 volumes, and there's also a live-action movie. Beck is a series that I think deserves a remaster and a redub, but because of its rushed second half, I feel that they should just go ahead and remake it, changing the second half, or just making it a longer series so that they can add more to the second half. But because I really doubt that will happen, I think they should just redub it. So if you've seen Beck, Mongolian Chop Squad, then let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you later.